welcome back, and today we are going to be doing an install video for the DBBE. This is specifically going to be on a early NA chassis where we are also going to be doing a full ABS module delete as well for all you guys that have ABSs on your Mazda Miatas. We're going to get into some of the parts, what you need, everything you need to do so you can get your engine bay looking super clean and get out on track with a super crisp pedal feel. Let's get into it. I am with Christian Niezgoda. If you ever contact customer support, this is the guy you're talking to. He's a super good guy, helpful, and he's gonna help resolve any of your issues you have with Chase BAYS.
Yeah, my name is Christian. I work for Chase BAYS. I do all their technical support and sales. So if you have any questions, concerns, make sure to email us at sales@chasebays.com and I'll be sure to get you squared away. Okay, so these are all the parts that you'll get if you buy the dual piston brake booster delete with the line kit. There'll be two versions of this kit. For the lines, one will be if you have an ABS module and one will be if you don't. First, we'll start up with the pedal adapter and the push rod. It will come assembled as a unit here. The pedal adapter is going to change the pedal ratio to 6:1. That's going to be this guy here. This will bolt onto your pedal and then it will raise the position. So it will install like so to where the pickup point is above the factory point. Next up, you have the dual piston brake booster delete. This is great. It's got isolated circuits for front and rear brakes. It's pretty straightforward. Some of these you will have to trim the firewall just a hair. The pickup point for the master is raised in the mounting position. This is to accommodate for the pedal ratio change. So you will sometimes have to trim the firewall to make sure that this passes through without any issues or interference. Running through the lines here, this is an ABS car, so we have a much longer line that goes to the rear brakes. On the non-ABS cars, this line will be fairly short. And then you have the other long line in the kit. We'll go to the passenger side. So it'll go from the L banjo here on the master cylinder over to the passenger wheel well. Last but not least, you have the driver's side line. This one's got a little bit of fire sleeve on there. We added this. We did this because this car we're putting this on is turboed. So we wanted to make sure that this line stays nice and safe away from that heat that's in that area. But this will go from the dual banjo here to the left front wheel well. And that's everything for the parts and where they go.
Also, just to add, the kit will not come with the fire sleeve. You can buy this separately, and it would be very suggested to do this on a turbo car just to keep the heat away from the brake lines. Step one of this process is obviously, let's get as much of this brake fluid out of here as we possibly can. Brake fluid is actually very destructive to things like paint. It's going to be very beneficial to actually start in removing the larger vacuum hard line here that's going to be what was assisting the brake booster off the back of the manifold, and that's just so we can have access to all these hard lines, get them removed. Once you get that hard line out, you do not want to forget that there is going to be a big vacuum leak at the back of your manifold. So do not forget to cap that off, get a nice little clamp on there so you seal up your intake manifold and don't have any crazy kind of vacuum leaks. Now you're going to want to release these plastic tabs that hold in the hard lines for the brake so we can get these off the firewall and get everything swapped out. Now that we have most of the brake lines loosened up on the top side of the vehicle, we're going to now disconnect the connection fittings on the inside of the wheel well that go down to the brake caliper. So for this part, it's going to be good to get a 17 millimeter so you can hold on to the bottom side of this nut here to prevent it from spinning, and then use your 10 millimeter and loosen the top side. This is the hard line that's going up to the engine bay that will be removed and replaced with the Chase BAYS components. Once you're removing some of these hard lines, it's okay to get these a little bit bent. These the ones for the front are just not going to be used again, so you can straighten these guys out, bend them however you need to so you can get them out of the vehicle. This might not be something you have to do. My car in particular, I just got some extra harnesses back here, a couple extra fittings, but there you go. Got this thing snaked out of the engine bay, one big piece. Now that the hard lines are out, the next step here is going to be removing the actual brake booster and master cylinder unit from the vehicle. Here we are on the interior of the vehicle. I would suggest taking off this lower panel here. It just sits right below the steering wheel base, and that's going to allow a little bit more access so we can get up underneath the pedal assembly to the 4 bolts to remove that brake booster setup. Jesus. All right, maybe if I get my butt up. Then I dive in. All right, so we just pulled out the brake booster. Just to give you a little information on removing this from the vehicle, there's a pin. This pin actually holds on the booster rod to the brake pedal itself. So there's a little clevis. You need to pull this guy out, pull the pin out, and that'll release the brake pedal from the rod that goes into your brake booster. And then other than that, you've got these 4 bolts sitting around it. Once those are knocked off, the whole unit will come out of the front in the engine bay, and it's time to swap things over. There's one extra piece that we need to explain to you. It is the one thing that you're going to have to cut on the vehicle.
So as I mentioned before, the master cylinder on this is mounted higher in the bracket than the stock one. So on the Miata, you do need to trim the firewall. You can see you just need to clearance this out so the piston can pass through there. The easiest way to do this, take the nuts off the studs, grab your DBBE, slide it in there, and then just take a Sharpie and mark the firewall. And you're going to want to make sure you get enough clearance to where that piston does not touch the firewall at all. Next up, before we install this, you're going to want to bench bleed the unit. We will link a video down below where Chase BAYS actually covers all of that and what that looks like. One more tip before you get this thing bolted into the car is you're going to take and loosen these bolts that hold the master cylinder on and put 3mm worth of washer in here. What that's going to do is allow you to set your pedal rod and all of that stuff on the pedal, and then bleed the brakes. And then you'll be able to take those washers out and bolt the master cylinder back on here, and that'll give you 3mm of preload on the master cylinder, which massively helps the feel and brake application of the manual brakes. So make sure you do that. It will help tremendously.
This is also going to be an ABS delete kit. So normally I'll show a photo of when the ABS unit was in here. Once you have all the lines removed, you can actually remove that unit, and with that unit removed, we can take the rear hard line that goes to the back of the vehicle that is going to stay in here, and it's okay to manipulate this a little bit. We're going to tuck it down and out of the way, clear this area up, and really get you that clean engine bay. All right, I just got all these lines routed. I made sure to have the heat shielding on these lines all over here near the turbo, specifically on this vehicle. Keep the heat away from those brake lines. We got one coming off this splitter. These are going to be your 2 fronts, one going straight down to the driver's side front caliper. The other side's routed up behind the engine, and it comes down here to the passenger side front. Then you have the fitting in the rear, comes over here. And all I did was bend it, and I came up here underneath the fuse box. And we got that guy nice tucked in there, clean away from everything. So that big bulky ABS unit you used to have is now no longer there. Everything's cleaned up. The next step is going to be raising this vehicle up. We are going to connect the 2 fittings at each wheel well, and then we will begin the bleeding process, making sure all air is out of the system. And that concludes your install of the Chase BAYS brake booster delete as well as the ABS delete. It has really cleaned up the engine bay. I'm super excited about testing this out on track as well as on the street. I've went around the block and it feels really good. There's not too much resistance on the brake pedal, and it stops. The more effort you put on the brake pedal, the more it stops, and it's very fluent and linear. It feels really good. For all your fluid transfer systems on any chassis you may have, go check out Chase BAYS. They make some really solid product. And thank you for assisting me today, Christian. Feel free to bug him at tech support and ask any questions you may need. Thanks for following along, and we will see you around the corner.